Teachers utilizing the integrated SSP kits are not required to create their own PowerPoints to teach to the PLD program. The new and improved daily review displays for years 4 to 6 make this even easier. This video will demonstrate how to utilize prepared digital displays for in-class teaching across your teaching groups. We will step through the main components of each lesson across the week for years 5 and 6. In this example, I'm a Year 5 teacher in Term 1, Week 3, and this is my data for my classroom. Refer to PLD's tracking sheet video for how to group your data using the PLD process. As you can see, I have a group operating at Stage 5 who are following the Year 5 teaching sequence, a group behind in Stage 4 completing one of the catch-up programs, and a group more significantly behind operating in Stage 3 following one of the catch-up programs. If you have any outlier students operating in Stage 1, then please refer to the integrated SSP support kit or the starter pack resources to cater to the range of ability in your class. For setup tips and an explanation on how to open up the relevant digital displays, please refer to the Navigating My SSP Kit weekly teaching resource video. I will start by demonstrating PLD's Monday and Tuesday literacy components. Let's also have a look at the next word. We're going to read this one down the bottom together. Permanent. Permanent. This word as well has some unstressed vowel sounds that make it tricky to spell. When we say permanent in our reading voice, these vowels are hard to hear. They sound a bit like an or an I. So we have to remember with our spelling voice, permanent, to be able to spell permanent. I want you to write permanent on your board and underline the tricky component for you to remember. Now we're going to learn a new commonly misspelled word. Exceed, as in you must not exceed the speed limit in this area. What's our commonly misspelled word we're learning? Exceed. Right, exceed needs to be greater in number, size, or other measurable thing. So tell me, what are the syllables in exceed? Exceed. Right, how many syllables? 2. So let's do 2 lines on our board. Exceed. Exceed. Okay, tell me, what are the sounds in the first syllable? X. Right, we're going to write X here. X. And what's the second syllable again? Exceed. Seed. Okay, the tricky component in this word is that the first sound sounds like it would be represented by the letter S. But actually, in this word, we represent it with the letter C, like in pencil. So we say it like S, but we write it with the letter C. Exceed. So the next sound in seed is E. And the last sound in exceed is D. So I want you to have a go writing exceed on your board and underline the tricky component again, which is we say it like S, but we write it with the letter C. Now let's review the concepts that we've been learning over the past few weeks together. We have been learning about prefixes. The prefix ad, as in adjacent, means towards or near. So tell me, which word on this word list means good or favorable position? Have a think, good or favorable position? That's right, advantage. If I have an advantage playing basketball, it might be because I'm really tall and I can dunk the ball in easily. So what was that word that means good or favorable position? Advantage. Let's say it precisely in its syllables using our spelling voice. Advantage. And back to our reading voice, advantage. On your mini whiteboards, I want you to start writing a list. Your first word in that list is going to be advantage. All right, let's go to our next concept. Next, we've been learning that the sh sound can be represented in multiple ways. Sh as in SI for mansion and SSI as in discussion. Shun is also a suffix which means describe, condition, process, or result. So tell me, which is the word that means a dominant or powerful group acts in a cruel and unjust way on this word list? a cruel and unjust way. The word was oppression. Yes, if you want to end oppression, you might want to stop a group of people being treated unfairly. So let's say it precisely in its syllables using our spelling voice. Oppression. And back to our reading voice, oppression. So on your mini whiteboards, I want you to be writing that next word on your word list is oppression. Last to review is ul. We are reviewing ul can represent LE as in table, and sometimes the consonant is doubled before adding LE. It's usually in short vowel words that end with a single consonant sound. We're going to read one of the words here. Let's read it together. In syllables, smug, gull, smuggle. And now on your mini whiteboards, you're going to write your last word on here. Let's say it precisely in its syllables again. Smug, gull. Okay, so now I'm going to ask one of my students to read the first word, okay? What was the first word on your word list? It was advantage. Okay, I want you to tick it or fix it. I'm going to write it on my whiteboard here. So in its syllables, it is advantage. Now, in this word, what was the phonic concept we were learning? That's right, it was add, as in adjacent. The next word that we reviewed, let's get another student to read it aloud. Yes, it was oppression. Okay, again, I want you to tick it or fix it. Oppression. Okay, and I've got to remember SSION. Okay, that's one thing. Did you have one S or two S's for oppression? What was the concept we were learning? Sh can be represented by SSI, and this whole suffix is shun. Our last word that we did was smuggle. All right, tick it or fix it. Smuggle. Okay, remember we had doubled that consonant after adding LE. And what was the phonic concept in this word? Ooh, that's right. And that's our review section done. Now I'll demonstrate how to teach this week's concepts portion of the lesson. So I'm going to introduce the phonic concept and then read 4 words from each of the word lists. This week we are learning the prefix X means from or out of, as in exclamation, meaning an outcry in response. We're going to read the first 4 words together in syllables using our spelling voice and then naturalize it. Exclude, excluded. Excessive, excessive. Extremely, extremely. Excavate, excavate. This week, we are also learning een can represent INE, as in magazine. Let's read the first 4 words together in syllables. Trampoline, trampoline. Magazine, magazine. Machine, machine. Quarantine, quarantine. Lastly, we are also learning that sh can be represented by TI, as in fraction. Let's read the first 4 words together in syllables. Function, function. Lotion, lotion. Pollution, pollution. Fiction, fiction. Now, the last part of the Monday and Tuesday lesson is to apply what we've just learned in a speech-to-print task. Now we're going to model 1 word from each word list before students complete the rest of the 10 minutes independently. Make sure students have 2 coloured pens or pencils and something to cover their words with. Let's read the first word together. Exclude, Excluded. Let's cover that up. What's the word? Excluded. Okay, the first syllable is X. Let's write that down. X. The next syllable, exclude. Let's switch colors. Clude. And the last syllable is ed. Let's check. Excluded. Correct. Okay, this one's a double time, so once I finish one side, I'm going to do the next side again. Excluded. Okay, let's do one from our next word list. Let's read it aloud. Trampoline. Trampoline. Let's cover it. What was that word again? Trampoline. And the first syllable was tram. Trampo. Oh, and the last syllable, lean. Switch colors. Lean. Okay, let's check it. Yes. And this one is a double time as well, so we're going to do that twice. Last list of words. Let's read the first word together. Function. What was the word? Function. What's that word again? Function. And the first syllable is funk. Let's write down. Funk. And the last syllable, shin, with our concept T-I. T-I-O-N, function. Okay, let's check it. Yes. Again, this is another double time, so we're going to do it twice. Now, we're going to put a 10-minute timer on, and everyone's going to finish their word list by themselves. If you have any outlier students, or if you are able to, I work with my struggling students here. So while the rest of the students are set up because they've been modeled and they're ready to do the rest of their word list, you can focus in on your group that's struggling or either your outlier group here. Next, I will demonstrate PLD's Wednesday and Thursday literacy components. So on Wednesday, Thursday, we still start out with a daily review. And then we go over the 3 word lists again. But instead of doing the speech to print process using our independent speech to print task, this time we are going to do a word study task. So again, I'm going to demonstrate one word from each word list before sending students off to complete 4 words from their word list. Now, there are multiple different word study tasks that we can engage with on a Wednesday and Thursday. There's an example up here with multiple meanings. We can also do more word detective tasks where we break down the base word and the prefix and suffix. But one that I'm going to demonstrate to you now, words that I will rarely use now that I have learnt new and improved words. Just like before, I'm going to model one word from each word group. Before, they're going to set the time for 10 minutes to complete the task independently. Often this will work well in small groups or individually, as long as students have access to a dictionary or something to help them. So let's look at our first word. First thing we're going to do is read the word. We're going to read this one together. Extensive. Extensive. Okay, extensive meaning covering a lot of area. So let's write our word. What was the word again? Extensive. Okay, we're going to write it. The first syllable was X. The next syllable was 10. Change color. Last syllable, sieve. Extensive. Okay, let's think of some words that are simpler that we can use, that we don't need to use that much anymore because we now can use the word extensive in our writing. So I'm thinking words like big. Does anyone else have any other words they could think of? Long, yep. A lot of, yes. Maybe wide. One last one. Yes, large. Okay, let's do one from the next word list. Function. Function. That's a great new word to learn. We're going to remember, what was that word? Function. Function. And the last syllable, shin. Change colors. Function. Now, if something has a function, it's got a use, like your toothbrush has a function to clean your teeth. Okay, so if we can think of words that are simpler, that now we know function we can use instead. Yeah, job. Yeah, maybe use. Maybe if we use the word what it does, we don't need to use that. We can say its function. Okay, now it's time to set the 10-minute timer and complete 4 more words on your word list. Finally, I'll demonstrate PLD's Friday literacy components. On Friday, we focus on paragraphs level text, which utilize words with the same concepts covered across the week. So prior to the Friday, we suggest having students familiarize themselves with the dictation text. This can be done through partner reading or sending it home for homework reading. Dictation will take place across that 30 minutes. So you don't actually do any of your daily review or your teaching of the phonic word list or any of those independent tasks on a Friday. You launch straight into dictation. How you do dictation obviously depends on who you have in the classroom. So if you have 2 adults, it becomes very simple to accommodate to your 3 groups. But if you are the only adult in the classroom, that's where you need to consider how you will either merge groups together or use technology to actually support that process to occur within the 30-minute block. So in my example, my group are in stage 5 and will be completing dictation through technology. I would have recorded myself doing the dictation, and then they will be independent for the 30 minutes. And students will read along with me as they read through fluently, and then they will highlight as they go. They will then be independently completing the dictation and editing their work throughout the session. So my other 2 groups, my groups are a little bit behind, are actually going to be working with me, and they will be completing the dictation with the first 15 minutes spent with me and the second 15 minutes with the other group. When they're doing their independent work, that's when they might be reading through their text, or they might be doing error corrections at that time. So let's do an example together. I've got my group in front of me, and we are first going to read through for 5 minutes. Because they're in stage 4, we only need to read through once. Students in stages 3, 4, 5, and 6, we can just read through once. As we read through, I'm going to get students to highlight words that have the phonic concept. So let's do that together now. So here we've got the phonic dictation, and it's focused on the EEN, I-N-E, as in magazine. So any words with EEN in it, we're going to highlight together. Okay, let's do our title. A marine magazine. We've got 2. Let's keep going. I was on board a motorboat when I discovered a magazine in its hull. It was a marine magazine. So after reading through that, we're going to remove the copy from the student's view, and they're actually going to start to complete the dictation. In this dictation, it's up to you to decide how many words to give at a time. We're going to give a few words at a time and ask students to write that down, making sure that they say it before they write it. So in this one, I'm going to keep it up for you to have a look at, but for students, they would not be able to see this in view as we're not copying at this point. So I want you to get your books out, and we're going to start to do the dictation. Setting a timer for 10 minutes. I was on board a motorboat. I was on board a motorboat. Say it with me. I was on board a motorboat. What are you going to write? They say, I was on board a motorboat, and write down. I was on board a motorboat when I discovered a, say it with me, when I discovered a, what are you going to write? When I discovered a. I was on board a motorboat when I discovered a magazine in its hull, full stop. Magazine in its hull, full stop. Say it with me. Magazine in its hull, full stop. What are you going to write? That's right, magazine in its hull, full stop. It's important that you actually tell them where the punctuation is, whether that's a full stop, a comma, a question mark. Because you're breaking the sentence apart, it's not always obvious. In this dictation, the phonic concept is shun, like in fraction. So once we read any words that have shun in it, we're going to highlight. So let's corally read all together for the first 5 minutes. Election, sensation. Those both have shun, so I'm going to highlight them. Mr. Davis caused quite a sensation. Within his latest election promises, his declaration that the protection of local wildlife and reduction of pollution would attract his utmost attention was only the start. Okay, now we're going to remove that from students' views and begin the dictation, getting their exercise books out, pencil, eraser, and setting a 10-minute timer. Again, I'm going to choose how many words to give at a time, depending on my students' ability. So this is my struggling group, so I'm not going to give them too many words at a time. Mr. Davis caused quite. Mr. Davis caused quite. Say it with me. Mr. Davis caused quite. What are you going to write? Mr. Davis caused quite. Mr. Davis caused quite a sensation with his. A sensation with his. Say it with me. A sensation with his. What are you going to write? A sensation with his. Mr. Davis caused quite a sensation with his latest election promises, full stop. Latest election promises, full stop. Say it with me. Latest election promises, full stop. What are you going to write? Latest election promises, full stop, right? And write that down. Continuing on until the 10-minute timer has stopped. In summary, today I've demonstrated what a weekly block structure looks like in a classroom. We have shown the daily review, the teaching of the word list, the speech to print task, the word study task, and also the reading and writing of dictation. This concludes our demonstration of the PLD program using the integrated SSP kits in Year 5 and 6.
If you found this information useful, don't forget to click the subscribe button and check out our related videos shown here. If you have any questions or feedback, please add them to the comments below and we'll be sure to respond. Otherwise, you can reach us via live chat on our website, pld-literacy.org. Thanks again for viewing.